everyone. Welcome to What's New in Kingston for Customer Service Management. I'm Holly Simmons, and with me today is Kathy Neff, my colleague. We're both from the Customer Service Management team. So before we get into the innovations, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the customer service challenges that we're addressing in the Kingston release. You probably have heard us talk about how we want to help companies deliver service that's effortless, connected, and proactive. So for effortless, we're focusing on addressing those long resolution times as well as helping customers find relevant information to solve their problems or answer their questions. From a connected point of view, quality becomes very important. You can't deliver quality if you're not addressing issues. And so you can address poor customer satisfaction, but also engage your customers. And then from a proactive standpoint, the lack of visibility is a problem because it doesn't allow you to be action-oriented. First, we'll start off with customer service management and field service management. Agent intelligence. Now, you probably remember back in January, we acquired a company called DX Continuum for machine learning. We've taken that great technology and have now integrated that into the platform, and it's available as agent intelligence for customer service management. With this, it allows you to speed the time to case resolution, so you can now automate the categorization, prioritization, and the routing of cases. This is great for customers because it allows them to easily select and make service requests, select categories and make service requests. But it's also great for agents because it allows them to focus their time on higher level work because of the automation that's saving time for them in automating those cases. And then finally, you can reduce errors and just improve the overall accuracy of the cases that are being assigned. With escalation management, there is an opportunity to put focus on certain cases that require attention. And so what you can do now is escalate a case, or you can escalate an account. And this makes it easy for the agents to keep track of the high priority escalations. And Kathy's going to show you a demo on this in just a moment.
Okay, so we're going to switch to the first demo. We'll have 3 different demos today. And before we start in, customer service has a variety of personas, and so I want to introduce those just so you know. I'm going to be flipping back and forth between some different screens so you know who we're talking about. So the first persona, we'll start, of course, with the customer, and George Warren is our customer. He works for a company called Boxio and is a customer of Acme Corp. And George happens to be an expert in networking and routers, and he's having some issues with upgrades, firmware upgrades. And so you'll see him interact in a variety of different ways today through the portal and through the community and how he gets help. Then we'll switch over to an agent view or a customer support rep. And John Jason is our rep. He will do things like escalate the case, book appointments, and create knowledge from those cases. As the demos progress, we'll move into an executive persona. Beth is our customer service executive. She cares about KPIs and metrics and managing really proactive performance. So we'll take a look at that with the dashboards. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a community moderator. Her name is Emily Jason, and she will really do some activities with the Kingston release to help foster engagement and make sure the community is very vibrant and up to date. So those are the personas, and we will start with the first demo. And as I said, we'll start here with our customer, George Jason. So the things we're going to cover are agent intelligence and escalations. So, agent intelligence is all about machine learning, and there's been a lot of hype in the marketplace. And what we've heard is customers are really interested in it, but they don't really know what to do or where to start. And so what I love about ServiceNow's approach is that we're taking a very practical, pragmatic approach to this. And this solves a problem customers have been telling me about for years, is how do I accurately, get things to the right person the first time? So from a customer standpoint, what you're seeing here is we want to make it really easy for George, our customer. And what you don't see is a category. George doesn't have to select from a drop-down with 50 things in it because you know what? Customers get that wrong. That's really hard for them to do. So we're going to make it easy. Just tell us what your problem is. Here he's telling us which product it's for. And he goes ahead and submits the case. And under the covers, machine learning is applying, the rules to automatically assign, for instance, here the priority. So what we'll do next is we'll switch back to the agent view. And John is here on his desktop, and he can look at his list of cases. And the case that just got submitted by George is coming in here, and we can drill into the case and see a few other things happening. So what you see is that the priority, the category, and the assignment group have been set already by Agent Intelligence. This is an upgrade issue, and it got assigned to a group handling performance issues. So the engine really nailed it on this one. So that's really it. A lot of what's happening is under the covers, but agent intelligence really gives companies a leg up with efficiency because it's, saving somebody having to do all the routing and rerouting. From here, we're going to take this case, and George has indicated just through the notes here that they have some time sensitivity, so the escalation feature works great. So we can escalate the case, and as we walk through the process here, it's pretty straightforward. Who's doing the escalation? Well, I'm doing it internally, right? And why are we doing it? There's a deadline. So these are values that you can always add your own configurations to. And additionally, you can set the severity, and you can also pick a template. The template controls the workflow that's happening under the covers. So, who are the people that need to approve this particular escalation? So to finish this, all I need to do is say, put a comment in why we're justifying that, and submit it. So what happens when we come back here is that you see immediately some visual indicators here, a clue that, hey, I've got an escalation because it's red. That's a high severity escalation. So you proceed with the case as normal, and then when it's ready to be de-escalated, you can just come down here and de-escalate the case. So that is, pretty straightforward. If I come back now to my case list, you can also see a visual indicator here, giving anybody who looks at this list an awareness, visibility that this case has been escalated. And then finally, Holly mentioned the ability to escalate accounts. Same thing here, I'm looking at my account list and I see a few different escalations. This is a medium severity, right? These are high severity. So it really gives you the visibility you need to manage your customers and the cases so that you're responding to things promptly.
That's great, Kathy. The one thing that I really think is amazing is the fact that agent intelligence is so easy for customers to take advantage of out of the box.
Yep.
And to really see the efficiency gains immediately.
Yep.
And in fact, Accenture performed a study with 6 of our customers over the course of a month with agent intelligence, and they saved 26,000 hours of,
Wow.
of agent time.
That's like 13 man years, person years.
Anyway, pretty amazing.
It is.
Pretty amazing. Okay, so let's move on. Now we'll focus on appointment booking for field service management. In the Kingston release, now customers can go in and select times for appointments, and this is a self-service model. Agents can also set up appointments for customers, but obviously the beauty is that customers can help themselves. Next, we'll move on to the Flow Designer. You're all familiar with our robust workflow, and basically it allows companies to automate these complex processes. Well, now what we've added is something called Flow Designer for both customer service management as well as field service management. And this really simplifies the automation so that anyone at any skill level can create a workflow. Also in this release, we do have new dashboards for both communities. Kathy's going to show that one a little bit later. And then we also have these role-based dashboards, which are great because they're out-of-the-box capabilities that you can use with performance analytics, and it's focused on executives, managers, and agents. And Kathy will go through these in pretty good detail today.
All right, so that takes us to our second demo. All right, so as you can see here for demo number 2, we're going to pick up right where we left off last time. So we have this case that came in that George had submitted regarding his firmware upgrade, and it's been escalated. So let's fast forward. Let's say as part of the escalation process, we decide that what we want to do is send a technician on site to take a look at that router to make sure it gets fixed properly. So this gives us a format to look at the appointment booking. So the first thing we need to do from this case is create a work order. So that's, nothing new there. It's a work order. We've created it. We're going to apply a template so that the proper parts and everything are attached to it, and we'll go ahead and qualify that work order. This puts it into a state where we can now book an appointment. So this is what's new in Kingston. In this case, the agent, John, is on the phone with George, and he's helping George to select an appointment time. So I've launched the calendar here, and there's no slots left for today. This is because the configuration has set it so beyond a certain window, you can't book an appointment. So all we need to do is go to tomorrow, and we can see the slots. Now the slots are configurable. These are 2-hour slots. They could be 1 hour, 3 hour, it's really up to you, whatever you need. This can also be a weekly calendar if you'd rather have the weekly view versus a daily view, so that's all part of the configuration. So George wants it first thing in the morning, so we'll go ahead and select that. So the appointment has been set up, and you can see that tracked right there in the work order. Now no appointment booking capability would be complete without allowing the customer to change the appointment, right? Maybe he needs to cancel or change it. So we're going to switch now back to George, the customer. And George can come right out and say he had a meeting come up first thing. He can't, go out and do that. And so he can come out now and sees this work order for the on-site visit and drills in, and there's his appointment slot. And all he needs to do, pops up the same thing as John did the previous day, and he can pick whatever works best for him, select that, and it updates the work order. And if I switch now, back to my agent view, that's all documented right there in the work order. So it makes it very easy. Let's go back to our case list just so we're ready for the next demo. So I'm going to segue from there, and we're going to talk about role-based dashboards. This is a great part of the Kingston release because customers have been asking for this. Now I'm actually going to start here and pull up the executive dashboard. Customers have been asking us for kind of best practices and guidance in terms of what KPIs they should measure. And so that's really what we've got here in the dashboards. Top level metrics here for executives: customer satisfaction, time to resolve, the outstanding backlog. You can see the current measurement and the trend, how you're trending. This is good, the backlog's going down. So you see the other related metrics here that are available for executives. As we look at those top level KPIs, we can come across here and see that for CSAT, these are at-risk accounts. These are my kind of worst performing accounts that I might want to pay attention to. So you can see the lowest CSAT scores, highest time to resolve, the biggest case backlogs. These are things executives really need in order to be tuned into their customers and make sure they're paying attention to the right things. From a cost standpoint, this is also very powerful because previously we have integrated IT financial management, and so what we can see here is our total cost of providing customer service across time and how it's trending, right? And then breakdowns by channel, by product, and by account. So you can, really see how you're performing across the entire organization from a cost standpoint. So those are great metrics. And what we want to look at next then is the Customer Service Manager dashboard. The Manager dashboard takes it down another level to more the operational day-to-day KPIs. So you see some of the same metrics, but then you see also important things like SLA achievement and how you're trending there. A new indicator in Kingston, first call resolution, really important for our customers to be able to track that. Scrolling down, you can see the backlog trend over time, the open cases, and then the average age of cases all together. So one other thing I want to point out as part of the Manager dashboard is something called the Case Spotlight. This is also new in Kingston, and it's an aggregate score for the case that's based on a combination of factors like the priority of the case, is it escalated, and other factors that you can combine to help you focus your attention on the highest priority cases. This is especially critical for agents as they're working through a case list that might be extensive. For years I've had people asking me, how do I prioritize everything that's in my inbox? Well, this gives you a way to do it. It's the score and the Case Spotlight. You can of course tweak that to make it something that's relevant for your organization. And then finally the agent dashboard goes down to the individual performer level, my work, my cases, things my team or my group is working on, so that I can drill down in there and access the things I need in the course of doing my work. Knowledge articles created, we'll get to this in the next demo, but this is part of what we have in Kingston also, that agents can suggest knowledge that becomes part of the knowledge base.
Great, Kathy, thank you. And that's a great transition over to knowledge management and communities. Okay, we'll start off talking about all of the great innovations in knowledge management, and there are actually quite a few in this release. First of all, we have the addition of external content to searches so that customers can get that relevant information in a set of unified results. We've also added knowledge harvesting, and Kathy touched on this a little bit. So now you can take information from the community and turn that into knowledge articles so that others can take advantage of it. We also have the ability to create knowledge from cases. That one is also a KCS certification item, as is the Article Quality Index, AQI. And then finally, we have article templates that we've added, as well as SEO discoverability. Then we move into communities, and you might remember back with Jakarta, we launched communities, and now we've added gamification. And with gamification, the whole goal here is to drive more engagement in the community because more engaged customers tend to be more loyal customers. And you can do that by taking advantage of gamification so that customers can participate in missions, they can earn badges, they accumulate points, they can also share their expertise and their success with others. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy to show us.
Okay, so that takes us to the final demo for the day. And we're going to start out, we'll talk about knowledge, then we'll talk about communities. And I'm going to pick up again here with this case that we've been working on. So the issue got submitted, it was escalated, we sent out a field technician. The field technician is going out there tomorrow, but we may want to provide George with actually a resolution or some kind of a workaround today. So this gives us kind of the basis to talk about some of the new things that we're releasing in Kingston. So first, here on the desktop, as I zoom in a little bit, you can see we've got the subject of the case, and we can do a contextual search of the knowledge base. And when we do this, it brings up a list of results, and part of what is in this list are things that are external content. So in the past, things had to reside pretty much in the knowledge base, but now we can pull things, for instance, from SharePoint. And so John can leverage this as he's working to bring up documents that may help him resolve the case more quickly. We want to do this because we don't want agents having to toggle all over, go into different applications to look for things. It just makes them much more efficient to bring it all here onto the desktop into a single pane of glass. So that's the external knowledge sources. You know, let's say that doesn't really help resolve the issue. So what John may want to do is give a workaround to the customer. So here, I'm going to go to the closure information, and this is a step that we'll do to show how we can create knowledge directly from the case. So I'm just going to finish this process. Let's say that the cause of this issue was a software defect. And I've got some close notes. You know, agents spend a lot of time composing solutions that they send to customers. And so by including that here, and I'll go ahead and remember finally to assign the case to myself, I can take this, and you can see up here now we have a create knowledge capability that exists within Kingston. So if I go ahead and do that, it opens up a new window, and what I've done is taken all of that work that I've done and I've formatted into a structured knowledge article. So Holly referred to article templates. This is an example of a template. It's a KCS or a knowledge-centered support kind of template really geared towards troubleshooting. So we can select our knowledge base, categorize it if we want, and then if I need to, you know, I can edit some text here if I want to take some of that out that doesn't really apply. And you can see how the data in each section has gotten mapped in from the case, and finally down to the actual resolution steps. So this is a template. There are several templates that come out of the box. There's an FAQ, which is more of a question and answer, how-to templates, and these troubleshooting templates. So I can submit that, and then that goes through the kind of the authoring and approval workflow, and finally takes us to the community section. So for this last part of the demo, I need to switch back over to the customer view. So I'm going to pick back up and come back to George's view, and George is actually now in the community. So things that are new here in Kingston, the primary thing on this page is this leaderboard over here at the right. And this is part of gamification. You can see that George actually is sitting atop the leaderboard. Of all the people in the community, he has the most points, right? So in addition to all the normal feed and everything that he sees here, he can see who some of the people are that he might want to network with. So I'll drill down into the leaderboard, and you can actually see everybody in the community, how many points they've accumulated, what their achievement level is, and this is across all of the different forums within the community. If I want to drill into a particular forum, I can do that. You know, I'm in there as George. George may want to see, you know, where do I stand in the routing and switching forum, and he's also number one there too. But he can see who other people are that he may want to connect to and follow, and you know, they could get to know each other. Besides this, I want to drill down a little bit into George and his profile. And you can see here, as you hover over any user, you can see their number of points, and those other things you see there are badges that they've attained. So here's George, he's got his badges, and let's scroll down a little bit so we can take a more detailed look. In addition to the gamification things, there's also a couple of new content types in Kingston. So for instance here, we have events. You can create events, and customers can subscribe to events, which is nice to be able to manage all that within the community. We also allow you to create draft articles, and bookmark content so that, if you see things that you like, you can bookmark it and come back to it later. In terms of the gamification capabilities, the achievements are really where I want to focus now. And so the achievements has a few different things down in here. As I scroll down, these are all the levels that we happen to have predefined out of the box. You can use these, you can create your own levels. You can determine how many points go into each different kind of activity. So you can see George has achieved the contributor level. He's between 1,000 and 5,000 points. This is really motivating for customers, right? We all love accumulating, frequent flyer miles and our loyalty things. This is part of the loyalty and engagement mechanisms that we've given you. So next over are badges. Badges allow you to define missions, and George has already achieved a couple badges, and he can come in here and see the other ones they're locked until he hits that level. So those are great. And then finally, the points is really interesting because I like it that we're exposing the points for everybody to see. This way, we're giving people reinforcement to engage in the community, because I know, hey, every time I get one of my answers marked as correct, I get 40 points for that. So that's really motivating for people. So that's the gamification piece. It's really a great and very needed part of the community. So the last piece we're going to look at here is our moderator. And Emily is our moderator. So we're going to take a look at a couple new things here in Kingston for her. So moderators make sure that appropriate content is being posted. They may edit content. And there's a couple other things that really help to show off the power of the ServiceNow platform here, the fact that we have an integrated platform. Let's first take a jump here into the solved questions. Now, when a question is solved, it means someone has answered it and the person who posted the question has said this is the correct answer. These are great candidates to be promoted into the knowledge base. So Holly mentioned harvesting knowledge. All I have to do is drill in here. I'm seeing that George Warren, he's one of my top contributors. So if he's posting knowledge, it's probably pretty good. And we may want to consider this to be put into the knowledge base. All I have to do is say harvest knowledge. And once again, it takes that content, pushes it into an article template. This is the FAQ template. Question, a brief answer. So again, I could edit that if necessary, apply a category, determine which knowledge base it should go into, and then publish it. All right. So again, based on your workflow, it may go through a flow. In this instance, it will be immediately published and is available then for other customers in the community to take advantage of. And if we go back to the question, we'll see that the knowledge article is tied directly into the community post. So that's great. The person can see that they've helped knowledge to be created within the community. Finally, last piece here, it's really important that when people post things in the community that those things get answered, because if they don't, people will not want to come back if it doesn't help them. So you see a couple of different options here, unsolved and unreplied. These are things where we don't have an answer yet. And unreplied is especially important. These are ones where, you can see here a bunch of people have viewed this content, but no one has replied to it. And I can see that this is George, who really knows his stuff. And so if George doesn't know it, probably a lot of other people in the community are going to struggle with this too. So instead of just letting this languish, we can create a case from it. This is essentially like an escalation. So we're going to put a comment in there, and George will see that when the case gets created. We'll go ahead and submit that. So that creates the case. So somebody now will have a specific focus on that. What's kind of cool here too is that I'm going to switch back to the agent desktop. So the case got created, and you can see it's already here in the case list, right? And if I drill in and open that up, I can see that it came from the community, so that's a new channel that we have here. You can also see the machine learning, the agent intelligence has assigned the right category and assignment group for it, so the right group will attend to this. And then, I would do my normal back and forth with the customer on this with George, and when it's ready for me to post something back to the community, I have that link right there in the case. So I'm still, the agent, but now I'm in the community and I can put my reply directly in here. Maybe it's the workaround steps. Maybe I want to post that right out to the community as an answer. So we keep the community and the case separate, right? Just so you can control what's getting published. And then to do a final wrap up on this particular demo, I'm going to go back over to my agent dashboard page and take a look here. This is the new Communities dashboard, which is great because as customers get started with Community, you can monitor your trends with members, with content, resolving questions, making sure questions get answered and all that good stuff.
Kathy, the thing that really strikes me about this is the fact that you're combining all these capabilities in Kingston. You have gamification, which is motivating customers to participate. You have this ability to answer questions, so customers always know their questions are going to be answered, which also drives more engagement.
Yep.
And then all of the knowledge that's created is then moved out to knowledge management so that others can take advantage of it.
Right.
So it's a really great combination of new capabilities, and they all work really well together. This obviously wouldn't be possible without the single platform.
Yes, that's
so
important.
The fact that knowledge management, communities, customer service management, the portal, everything is integrated makes this possible.
That's why we can roll this stuff out so quickly, because it's all on one platform.
Exactly. So to recap, Kathy showed us agent intelligence today, and that helps with fast case assignment. We also saw a number of knowledge management enhancements, and what that really does is it helps customers to get to the relevant information that they need to answer questions and to resolve issues. We also looked at escalation management and to improve both the efficiency as well as the quality of the service you're delivering and improving customer satisfaction. With communities and gamification, driving more engagement with your customers, which means more loyalty, and then also taking advantage of those role-based dashboards, which brings insight to people at all levels of the organization in order to make decisions and take action. So as we move ahead, if you're interested in taking advantage of Kingston, go to High and upgrade. You can also reach out to your sales rep or your partner. Thank you, Kathy, for the fabulous demos today.
You're welcome.
And we had a great time sharing those with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.